In today's subscriber story, this spoiled rich girl is being a huge brat on the school's field trip, till a pretty hilarious twist happens and is probably one of the greatest examples of instant karma I've ever seen. Enjoy. The story all happens on a school trip to a dinosaur museum. This was the subscriber's key event for his year in 5th grade. The big thing they did was they went to this dinosaur museum as a class. It was kind of like the big culminating final event. So this happened towards the end of his 5th grade year. And this was a very big deal for everyone as they studied an entire unit on dinosaurs. They finished up a final project, and the big kind of reward / payoff would be to go to this dinosaur museum. Just kind of check out all the cool skeletons and fossils and models and just have a really good time, right? So everyone there was pretty excited, and the day happened, and the subscriber and his friends, they load onto the bus, and they sat towards the back. They're sitting with the boys. I don't know if you guys have been on field trip buses. It's just a really good spot towards the back with your friends, just having a good time. It's a great time, right? Anyways, but it wasn't a perfect field trip ride over, unfortunately, and I'll get into that right now. So there was this girl in the subscriber's class, and her name was Betty. And her parents made a lot of money, and right off the bat, there's nothing wrong with that. She can't do anything about that. She can't do anything about her parents making a little bit of money, a lot of money, a moderate amount of money. It's not in her control. So that's not, I never look down on someone for that alone, right? But it's really the way you act about it. And Betty, let's just say, took it in the worst way possible. She basically acted the worst because of it. And that's something that is 100% in your control, man. I know it's oh, the parents raised her. Dude, you're in 5th grade at this point. It's time to grow up. I know I'm saying 5th grader, time to grow up, but at some point, man, I don't know, dude. Yeah, it's definitely on the parents for raising a kid, and teaching them the wrong things. But time to grow up. I'm going to say time to grow up. Anyways, Betty was known as being kind of the snotty, spoiled girl, right? And on this field trip on the ride over, she just started talking about how she was so excited to go to the gift store. And everyone else was actually, who was on the bus, was talking about what they were excited about. Kind of I can't wait to see the big, dinosaur sculptures. I can't wait to, check out the big model. I'm going to take a photo with it. I'm going to go send it to my mom. She's going to be so excited. This is going to be so cool. And Betty's what Betty was talking about and talking about very loudly to the one person she sat with. Because Betty didn't really have a lot of friends because, she kind of caused that herself because of her actions, but it is what it is, right? But Betty did sit down with someone forcibly, so she was telling them and saying it loud enough so that as many people as possible could hear, as well as the subscriber could hear, because that's how I know about this part, right? That, she actually just got a new credit card from her dad, and she will be maxing it out in the gift store, and she's so excited to buy stuff in the gift store, and then she kind of looks around, and then she looks at the person she's sitting next to and is can you max out your credit card in the gift store? And the random girl who's sitting next to her is dude, I'm a 5th grader. I don't have a credit card. I have $25 in a bank account that was given to me by my aunt for Halloween or something, dude. You and I we're just not the same. And yeah, no, I will not be buying anything in the gift store. I do have $10 for lunch, though, since we do need to bring a little bit of money to buy lunch there. That's all I have. I'm not planning on maxing out a credit card for the gift store, but you do you, Betty. Have a good life. I don't really care. Subscriber that sent in the story and his friends kind of looked at each other, rolled their eyes, because this is not the first time Betty has said something kind of out of pocket like this. He gave one example in the DM he sent to me. By the way, if you want to have your own stories featured on the channel, DM my Instagram, the stories, the handle's in the description. Anyways, he also gave me a previous story, which I'm just going to tack on real quick to give you guys a little bit of context of Betty. By the way, subscribe if you like story videos. That's it. Back to the story. So this mini story happened just a few weeks ago before the dinosaur big story, right? Basically, at this subscriber's school, you could either get the lunch there or you could bring your own lunch. And one of these days, Betty didn't bring her own lunch. And her own lunch used to be this really fancy stuff that her nanny or whatever would make. And one day, for some reason, she forgot it. and she had to eat the school lunch. And the school lunch was not that great. It was not the most epic thing ever. But the thing was, like, everyone kind of dealt with it, or they brought their own lunch, but sometimes they'd actually have to eat the school lunch. It was just something you dealt with. But when Betty had to start eating the school lunch, it was put on her plate. She went down to sit down and just started crying in the middle of the dining hall, bro. And everyone was just like, dude, we all have to do this too. Just get over yourself. So that was just like a little context of Betty, right? So, right, they're on the bus. Betty's talking about how she's going to buy out the gift shop and how she's so excited to do that. And they eventually arrive at the place, at the museum. So they kind of file out of the bus. They take a head count. They have like the buddy system. Poor girl who sat next to Betty, just like not at her own will, right? Was kind of forced to be buddies with her because you had to be buddies with who you're on the bus with. And, so they all walked out. They all went into the museum. Basically, the teachers kind of said, hey, feel free to go wherever as long as it's within the museum. However, you have to be back at 12 for lunch. Everyone make sure to bring your $10 that you brought, right? Or whatever method you'll be paying, as we'll all be going to get lunch together. But other than that, feel free to just roam around and do whatever you want. The subscriber and his friends obviously went around to see all the cool like sculptures and dinosaur, stuff, and just a lot of the cool stuff associated with like, the skeletons. They actually had some real fossils there. So they checked those out and they saw this. They went down to also see a screening of like a little like 15-minute long like little movie that the museum made, which was really cool as they tried to like recreate like the extinction event with the asteroid or whatever. But anyways, they're having a good time. But then Betty comes up to them. And here's the thing. They're not friends with Betty, but they're also not like enemies, or I've never not spoken to Betty because their class isn't like the largest class size ever. It's not small necessarily, but they at least have had enough interactions with Betty that Betty feels comfortable enough to like go up to them and like talk to them, right? She's at least that level of comfort. So Betty's like, hey, come with me, guys. I want to show you something. And they at first kind of were like not really thinking that much. They're like, the subscriber was like, I'm going to be honest, like we were being kind of dumb because like we definitely knew what Betty was saying on the bus, but we were just like, oh, maybe she found a really cool dinosaur sculpture, man. Like, I don't know, or a really cool part of the exhibit that we haven't seen yet. Like, let's just go with her. And right, she's like kind of like dragging one of them. The other couple are following behind. And they're moving past all these exhibits. And, one of them looks up and there's a sign that says gift shop like a minute away that way. The dude's like, oh no, dude, like no way. Like we're not going shopping on like the most fun vacation of the year. Like I have to do that with my mom on the weekends. I hate doing that. Like, bro, why would I intentionally do that? But it was already too late. They were already dragged there. And then Betty's like, and now I'm going to buy whatever I want. And there was like another girl in, in the bookshop, not the bookshop, the gift shop. And she was like trying to decide between like a dinosaur stuffed animal or this like coloring book. And then like Betty goes up to her and is like, look what I can do. And just like unironically just like grabs both, not like the items that the girl was holding because there was multiple of them, but grabs the items that the other girl in their grade was deciding between, puts them in a bag, and then keeps walking around just putting random stuff in her bag. So at first, the subscriber and his friends were kind of planning on, dipping within like a couple seconds of getting there because they're like, dude, we don't want to be here. But they were like, they actually decided to stay and just like watch the whole thing go down because Betty literally went through and got one of everything. And I'm not even kidding, man. She went out of there with like 6 to 7 bags full of like stuff. One of basically every item in the gift shop. Yeah, it wasn't like a Toys R Us size gift shop where it's like multiple floors or anything, but it was a decent sized gift shop. This was not some kind of like little like shack on wheels. This was a legitimate gift shop. Like the museum definitely made some bread there. So they wanted to like flesh it out and have a lot of options for people to buy. And Betty literally bought every option. Like on a multiple choice test, she literally just chose D, all of the above. It's crazy. But here's the thing, right? Betty probably didn't want every item that she bought. In fact, there's probably only a few items that she really wanted, if she even wanted any of the items at all, because she did seem pretty like not interested in the whole like in the rest of the museum. So why would she care about all these things like that she could buy at the gift shop? What she really wanted, right, was to like fill the bags, buy all this stuff, and then walk around the museum, find as many of the people who went to her school as possible, and just kind of like show off the bags. Like walk up to them and be like, oh man, this is so heavy. My arms hurt so much from carrying all this stuff I just bought. I bought one of everything, bro. Like, look at me. All right, guys, I'm going to interrupt the story for just a second and ask you to go ahead and comment. Comment snow in the comment section down below. That's the secret phrase of today's video. And I just want to see how many people actually made it this far into the video, as I do appreciate it, as watch time is good. And also you can see who else like actually watched it. And it's like a little secret club or whatever. Anyways, back to the story. So Betty does eventually go around walking with all the bags, and it was heavy. Like she was dedicated to the flex. Like she was very dedicated to showing off to as many people as possible that she basically bought one of everything when it came to the stuff in the gift store. Like she said that on the bus, and she said it loud enough that like she knew at least a decent handful of people had heard her, and she wanted to make sure that everyone knew that she like was true on her promise. So she did that. She just walked around with these big bags and was like, a haha, right? And okay, so it's 12, right? Or it's like 11:50. People are starting to walk over and to the food line because, as you know, I said earlier, at 12, the teacher said, hey, we got to reconvene so we can all get lunch together and also just take a little head count. Like they're staying till like 2 or 3, or I don't even know, probably like a couple more hours. But they just wanted to reconvene at lunch to make sure that like everyone was doing all right. Anyway, so they all get into line, and like the subscriber is in line with his friends, and they happen to be right behind this girl. They're right behind Betty. Sorry, I forgot the fake name for a second. But anyways, right, so they're behind Betty in line, and the line's moving up, and basically you hand them the $10, or you insert the credit card, or, you know, maybe you hand them the like 2,000 pennies or whatever it costs for like $10. I didn't do the math. Anyway, so it's Betty's turn, and she just instantly just drops the card on like the machine. She hands it to the dude swipes it, and the dude's like, sorry, like, it declined. And she just looks at them like, swipe it again. So he swipes again, and he's like, nope, still declined. And then she starts to like panic a little bit because now there's a little bit of a line behind her. Everyone just heard that her card declined. She checks the app because it's like connected to an app or something. Basically, they froze the card because she bought too many things too quickly on a card that was too brand new, and kind of like, because the museum was kind of far away in like a location that wasn't normal. So they froze her account, and she couldn't pay for anything. And it wasn't like in her name because she was in 5th grade, dude. Like obviously it was not in her name. It was in her dad's name. So it needed her dad to like figure that out. And he was like busy at work during this time, and she knew that. So basically she had no money. She couldn't buy lunch at this point. So she just like, she had to do, it was after going around everywhere, and she's still holding these big bags of like all the stuff she bought with the credit card. She now has to do a walk of shame all the way back, asking every single person in line, hey, do you have any money I could borrow? A complete 180 from what she was doing like 5 minutes ago. And you know who ended up having the extra $10 that like she could actually like lend to Betty? The girl that she snubbed in the gift shop, the one that she went and bought both of the items, right? And you know why she gets an extra $10? Because she decided to buy neither and save the $10, right? But she gave it to Betty. She's like, I don't like, yeah, you're kind of a jerk to me, but I don't want you to go hungry, right? So just pay me back later. And yeah, that was probably the like that subscriber witnessing the whole thing was like, that was like probably one of the most like instant karma, quickest humble moments he's ever seen. Guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you want to support the channel, just go ahead and watch another story video. One of the easiest ways to do that is to watch the Storytime playlist, which is first linked in the description. So yeah, see you in the next one. Peace.